everyone. So, ever since I have heard about this TED Talk opportunity, I wanted to tell you guys about the relationships of the red and white colored flags countries. So, I was born in Indonesia. It is a beautiful country with lots of natural resources and big land area. In fact, it is the world's largest island country, though it is even bigger than Europe. So one day I have wondered why Indonesia couldn't be as developed as Singapore, Japan, and Switzerland. Those countries do not even have that much natural resources and big land area like Indonesia. So what is actually the obstacle that Indonesia needs to face? So I think the obstacle is Indonesian society. Before I explain what's wrong with Indonesian society, I want to tell you about the strength first. So Indonesians are so optimistic. They have the motivation to make Indonesia much more developed than before. That is why I really want to show you the three key problems that us, the Indonesian society, needs to fix, including myself, of course. So let's start the first key problem by comparing Indonesia with Singapore. It is a small country in ASEAN, and despite its small area, Singapore ranks 7 in wealth inequality in ASEAN countries, whereas Indonesia ranks 2nd. Indonesia has severe inequality. Imagine over 40% of wealth in Indonesia is owned only by 1% of the overall population. So I think Indonesia really needs to reduce the inequality by improving the productivity of the poor and provide equal access to everyone. However, I think Indonesia needs to overcome its corruption issue first in order to have the funds to apply the solutions that I said before. Moving on to the second key problem, let's compare Indonesia with Japan. Japan is a small country too in East Asia. Japan's weakness is it does not have much population. It keeps decreasing day by day. You may wonder why population matters. It matters because the actors who run the economy is working age population. So in the future, Japan will have less and less people who run the economy, unlike Indonesia who has a much higher birth index. You can see that from the population graphs. Japan does not have many children. It is the same with Swiss, also the same with Singapore, but not for Indonesia. So we have stronger human capital, and actually we can leverage this to increase Indonesia's GDP. But why Japan has a much higher GDP? It is because of education. Education contributes about a half of a country's economic growth. Japan has a very good quality of education and high proportion of educated people. Japan has much higher reading performance, higher mathematics performance, and higher science performance than Indonesia. Moving on to the third key problem, let's compare Indonesia with the last country that we have, Switzerland. It is a small, beautiful country located in Europe. It is also known for its chocolate souvenirs. However, Switzerland is not listed in here. Indonesia is listed instead. It is in the third rank. So despite having massive production of cocoa beans, Indonesia still imported 88 million US dollar worth of chocolate and cocoa products. The same case happened with coffee beans. Starbucks from the US is famous as the worldwide coffee brand. However, why Indonesian coffee is underrated? Even though Indonesian coffee is higher in quality, even though Indonesian coffee has higher production. And ironically, if we see deeper, the US coffee is imported from Indonesia. So what I want to say is, to conclude, Indonesian people tend to be consumptive. We export our raw materials, our natural resources from our country abroad, and then let the foreign countries produce them and leverage them as final goods, and then we buy the final goods from them, which are obviously more expensive. That is why Indonesians need to have more initiative to produce the final goods in our country by themselves and for themselves. Because Indonesians are consumptive and do not produce much inside the country, that is why imports is bigger than exports and result in negative current account balance. Thus, if Indonesia uh, has the knowledge and has the technology to produce final goods inside their own country, it will help significantly to increase their current account balance. So, to sum up, Indonesian society has three key issues. The first one is wealth inequality, where the government needs to solve this after overcoming corruption issue. The second one is improving education and its easy of access. The third one is to reduce consumptive behavior and enhance initiative behavior to take advantage of their natural resources and increase the amount of exports. All these three key issues only will be successful if and only if the Indonesian government and Indonesians have integrity and respect each other's efforts, which are the core foundation of the non-toxic environment. Thank you for listening and paying attention. I'm Via, and that's the end of my TED Talk.